Hey everyone, what's going on? Divide here with another guide. Today we're taking a look at the new exotic scout rifle, Dead Man's Tale, which came out this week. So we're going to break everything down, look at the damage this weapon does, the god rolls, and everything like that. And by the way guys, this weapon is insane in PvP as well, so if you like this one, then leave a like, drop a comment on what god rolls you're chasing, and subscribe to keep up to date with my latest videos. But now, let's get started. So the Dead Man's Tale is a 120 RPM primary kinetic exotic scout rifle which acts like a lever action rifle. It comes with a unique perk where chain and precision hits grants bonus damage and quickens reload speed. And of course this weapon also comes with random rolls. Now how do we get this exotic weapon and start the quest? So to start the quest, head over to the arms dealer Nightfall this week. Now I'm not sure if it has to be the Nightfall, but that's what I did mine in. Then just follow the directions on screen in a moment to pick up the item required to start the quest. If the Nightfall is no longer the arms dealer, then try landing into the arms dealer strike itself in the EDZ. But now once you've picked that up, head over to the tower and speak to Zavala and he'll start you on that quest to get the exotic. So just go ahead and complete the quest by doing a mission on the Tangled Shore, and once you've done that, then speak to Zavala and he'll give you the Dead Man's Tale exotic scout rifle. If you want to get random rolls, then you can redo the mission once per week on each character, giving you a total of 3 random roll drops per week. Now before we look at the god rolls of the weapon, let's first take a brief look at how the weapon works and stuff like that. So here in our test in Lost Sector, the damage it does on the first shot is 5,226 as a crit. Then with the perk stacking, the second crit becomes 5,612, then 6,011, 6,423, 6,850, and then finally with all crits afterwards being 7,289 damage per shot. And that is with the exotic perk procced at ×5, which is the maximum it can go to. And this compared to a lot of other scout rifles is a lot better. Now the reload speed isn't too bad, but it's still kind of slow, so I'd recommend using a scout rifle loader or something to increase the reload speed. It will reload 2 shots per time and not the entire clip though. As for the weapon rolls, there are rules to make this weapon deal more DPS to bosses, faster reload, and also make the handling a lot better in general. And if you're going to use this weapon, it's probably best to use it in PvP rather than PvE. But now that being said, let's take a look at all the potential rolls for this weapon and then we'll break it down for the god rolls. So in the first slot for the barrel we have Arrowhead Break, Chambered Compensator, Corkscrew Rifling, Extended Barrel, Flooded Barrel, Full Bore, Hammer Forge Rifling, Poly Rifling, and Small Bore. For the magazine in the second slot we have Accurized Rounds, Steady Rounds, Flared Magwell, Armor Piercing, High Caliber, Ricochet, and Light Mag. And for the first perk trait we have Subsistence. Kills partially reload the magazine from reserves, but reserves capacity is reduced. Outlaw, precision kills grant decreased reload time. Killing Wind, final blows grant increased mobility, weapon range and handling for a short duration. Snapshot sights, faster time to aim down sights. Moving target, increased movement speed and target acquisition when moving while aiming down sights. Vorpal weapon, increased damage against bosses, vehicles and guardians with a super active. And finally, 4th times for charm, rapidly landing position hits will return 2 rounds to the magazine. And finally for the 4th slot for the stock we have composite stock, fitted stock, hand-laid stock and short action stock. And of course we have a catalyst, but as of this video being made it's currently not available. So what are the best rolls to have for this weapon and the best ways to use them? So in the first slot, if you're going for a PvE roll, I'd go with either Corkscrew, Flooded Barrel or Small Bore. But for me, I'd go with Flooded Barrel for that plus 15 handling. In the second slot, you'll want Accurized Rounds if you care about increasing its range. or armor piercing rounds for that increased damage to shield it adds. Not too bad as we're using a kinetic weapon, so it'd come in handy against shields. But we also have light mag if you want to go for that quicker reload. Now for the most important perk slot for the third, you'll want to go with Vorpal Weapon for that plus 15 damage boost if you plan on using it against champions or bosses. But if you're mostly using it for smaller adds or minor bosses like in strikes or smaller activities, then I'd go with 4 times the charm, as you'll be able to get your ammo back for rapid precision hits. Something you should be doing with this weapon anyway, so it's definitely what I'd be choosing for mine. But you also have Outlaw, which is also good for that quick reload, because again you're going for those precision hits, so Outlaw should always be active. But stacking this with the exotic perk and things like a scout rifle loader, I don't think Outlaw would really be necessary. Finally, in the 4th slot, you'll want to go with short action stock for that plus 15 handling. Definitely worth having, but fitted stock is also a good option. It really depends on how you're planning to use the weapon and what perks you're combining with it. I'll just experiment around and see what works best for you and how your weapon feels and handles. But moving on to PvP for you PvP players out there, this is really where you want to use the weapon. Now because this weapon has hardly any recoil, you want to go for that range to try and get that 3-tap kill further away. So for the barrel you want to go with hammer forged rifling for that big range boost, but if you're going on the handling side then I would go with fluttered barrel to achieve that. And if you combine that with the short action stock later, then your overall handling is just going to be insane, going up to 85. But for the magazine you want to go for ACCURIZED rounds for that plus 10 range again. And if you compare this with other perks and mods, you can almost make the weapon feel as good as 120 RPM hand cannons. But high caliber rounds is also a good choice if you want to make your enemies flinch, making your fight with them easier. Or you could go with ricochet rounds, which is also a good choice. But for the 3rd slot, you'll want killing wind, snapshot sights or moving target, because in PvP we're all about range and handling, and that killing wind will definitely be perfect for you. But if you want to be able to move a little faster when ADSing to strafe more in fights, then moving target is your king. Otherwise snapshot sights if you're running and gunning and want to be moving around quickly. I'd choose this if you've chosen more range perks, but it's not really needed if you have a lot of handling on the weapon already. Finally, for the stock, we're going with short action stock again for that handling boost, but if you're focusing on hipfire more, then a fitted stock is probably your better option here. So those are my god rolls in my opinion for PvE and PvP that you'll want to consider when farming these out, and of course if you stack these rolls with armor mods and certain builds you'll be able to make the weapon even better. So I'll just experiment around and see what works best for you. But that's all for this weapon guide for the new Dead Man's Tale exotic scout rifle, which is really good and I like using it. But that's all for this one, so leave a rating, comment your favourite rolls and subscribe to see more. But for now, take care and I'll see you all in the next one.